Yeah, so that's a great question. The Witly token is a utility token. And so if you look at the utilities we're offering or the specific use cases, there's a lot of benefits that we want to give somebody that holds the Witly token. Their transaction fees would be paid if they buy a piece of property on Network or OpenSea, or not OpenSea, Decentraland, Sandbox, any of these platforms. Their transaction fee would be paid in our Witly token. So if somebody has ownership in the token, they unlock certain tiers of access to the information it is that we're providing, access to the platform itself. As an extension of that, data, signals, triggers, alerts. As an extension of that, we've got early access to newly released Metaverse properties, discounted access to Metaverse properties. There's an enormous amount of benefits that we've been building upon so that if somebody holds the Witly token, they unlock access to our resources, not only in the virtual world, but in the real world.
What's going on, Cowboy? In this video, we've got a new exciting Metaverse marketplace play for you because we know that in a bear market, we want to be investing in the best, most exciting projects. So in a bull run, it's set to take off. And we want to know the best minds behind these projects. And that's why you're at this channel. I don't like shilling different and random projects and getting paid for it or whatever. I like talking to the CEO, the founders, the minds behind these projects and saying, hey, do I get a good feeling about you? Are you dependable? Do you have a track record? Is this something that is a passion for you, or is this just like a big money play? I want to know. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. These are the type of videos you're going to get here. I'm just a lizard brain cowboy, not your financial advisor, and I'm just exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency for you. And if you want to learn with me as like the student, just taking it all and just interviewing these geniuses and finding out, hey, is this something that I could jive with or not? Go ahead and hit subscribe down below. Give me a like on this video if you're feeling generous and if you like this type of content. And be sure to stay till the end for a lot of these good giveaways and stuff that we're doing on the channel. Now, I want to talk to you about these basically how we find projects. Okay, it's very difficult, okay, to find a project on YouTube when you don't know if the YouTuber is shilling, like this third party, like being paid to just mindlessly tell you about a project. That's why I think the AMAs are the best source of doing your own research, because you get to see, like, I get to ask critical questions, like the toughest questions I could possibly ask, and we get to see the exchange, and we get to like really get a feel for the mind behind it. And so we have the CEO and founder of Witly.io behind this project. His name is Grant Wise, and I want to do him proper with a proper intro. So here we go. He's making big moves like he was an earthquake. Ignoring him would be your mistake. He has innovation for more automation. Listen up on how he's changing real estate. It's the one, the only Grant Wise. Welcome to the channel.
My man, thank you. Thank you for the intro. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Grant, before we talk about your project here, could you tell us a little bit about your origin story, backstory, coming into crypto? What did you do and how are you bringing it into crypto?
Absolutely, man. I've always had such an interest. I was so intrigued by the Web3 space, and for a long time didn't know where my place was, and so it remained somewhat of a confusing space. But we've connected before in the past. I've been in the real estate space, in the training and education space, the technology space for almost a decade. I got started back in 2014 teaching realtors how to use Facebook ads to sell property, and built a very successful training company. We did it all bootstrapped. We didn't raise any money to do anything like that. We just had to do it the old-fashioned way, where we figured out how to make money and kind of built from there. And 3 or 4 years into that, I realized that technology was one of the greatest struggles that our clients were having, because the average age of a real estate agent is 56, right? The technology isn't super natural to them. It's kind of flying over their heads. But what we realized is that the people that were taking our information and implementing it were having an enormous amount of success. I mean, we were creating millionaires in a matter of years, all from some simple advertisements to help sell property. And so we built this technology really that would just do all the work for them. I started asking myself, like, surely there's a way that we could just do this work so these agents don't have to do it. I didn't want to build a marketing agency. And so SaaS really became the answer. And so we started developing technologies years ago. And Witly, as it is, at least the pro version, the pro tool, if you will, today, is an automated advertising platform that runs ads for agents to help them sell property. And so my curiosity in the crypto space, I mean, it just kept, like, it was like something just like sitting on the shoulder, like, you got to go look at this. You got to take advantage of this. There's something happening over here. I just didn't know where my entry point was. And I think I was on vacation, and every time I go on vacation, it's like I start a new business. It seems like I was on vacation with my wife, and or we were headed out of town, and I was like, I got it. I know exactly what we're gonna do in this space, and I became obsessed with virtual real estate. Now, real estate's always been a passion of mine. Helping real estate agents become successful has been mostly my entire career as an entrepreneur. And when I started diving into the metaverse, it was really pretty incredible. I started seeing all of these really unique ways to earn income, advertising, land rentals, venue, building venues and hosting experiences, just the simple act of buying and selling. It was so interesting how it was so comparable to real estate in the real world. But what I noticed was the most interesting is that there was no singular place where people could go browse, buy, rent, sell, invest virtual property. You had to do your own research and due diligence. You had to go into Decentraland or the Sandbox, or you had to go into CryptoVoxels, or you had to go into Network, or wherever metaverse it is that you may be the most intrigued by, and you had to do the R&D. There was no filtering mechanism. There was no valuing mechanism. There was nothing that would really tell you how this little plot of virtual property was valued compared to this, and if it was what it was saying it was worth. And so I really became incredibly passionate about building Witly.io, which is a metaverse marketplace for virtual land. And so what we're doing is it's kind of like we're building the Zillow of the metaverse. We're building a platform, a singular platform that taps into all of these different metaverses, and it aggregates the data, and it shows the consumer what's available. It gives them ways to filter what's available. So if they're interested in basketball, maybe it's going to show them metaverses that are more focused on basketball. If it's fashion, maybe we're going to filter properties that are more fashion centric. Like we just had Fashion Week a few months back now at this point. But give people a platform where they could way more easily browse, buy, rent, sell, invest. They could make these transactions on one platform without having to go do all of this R&D and do all this research. And the I don't want to say adoption, but like the excitement around what it is that we've been doing and are continuing to do as it relates to virtual real estate have just been insane. And so we're excited to keep doing what we're doing from a platform standpoint. And we introduced this sell and earn program. So I have chaired and found the Metaverse Real Estate Association, helping people that want to learn how to make money in the metaverse, helping them go through licensing programs to essentially get a metaverse real estate license, which gives them the ability to sell and earn commission. So if they sold a piece of virtual land, they could get paid instantly for helping facilitate the sale of that virtual property. I think that this is an industry that needs a little bit of legitimacy, right? We are tired of the frauds and scams and the rug pulls. Like I don't want to be about any of that stuff. I always tell people, like, I'm not super into the hype, because people that buy in on hype, they sell on hype too, and they can really destroy a lot of projects, as we've seen. And so we're just focused on building an incredibly legitimate experience with people that want to make this like a genuine profession, want to learn how to make money in the metaverse, and make it easier for people to, like I said, browse, buy, rent, sell, invest in virtual real estate in the metaverse.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just try to summarize some of that. You've been over a decade of an entrepreneur, mainly helping and educating real estate professionals on how to automate real estate digital advertising, and you were always curious about Web3 and Metaverse, but never really found your entry point or connection there. And then on vacation, you're like, okay, it hit you like a ton of bricks. You want to create what you described to me as the Zillow of the metaverse. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because there are so many different metaverses on so many different chains. And as someone who's walking into Web3, this is really like you're looking to onboard, people who are already looking to buy these plots of land from different sizes and different metaverses and different features on each one, and how each metaverse reacts. And there's all kinds of data points like I have to know, like, for instance, which ones are the most populated, which ones are available in my budget, which ones are blocky and gamified more than which ones are, a little more realistic. And so there are all these little data points, and you're kind of summarizing all of them like in a Zillow context or context. and you're creating this place where people can, what you said, buy, sell, rent, and I think earn. And then in addition to that, you are bringing in an education for people who could basically get a real estate license in the metaverse and do that. I've got a whole host of questions here. Is that about right though?
Yeah, no, it's a great summarization. 100%.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of questions here, and maybe you could help me out here. How far? So first, let me say this: a Zillow for the metaverse is pretty brilliant. I think that's a great idea. It's like looking at each metaverse as a city, and if you're using Zillow, it goes to different cities and what you're looking for, and there's some kind of search feature. I'm assuming all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
How far are you into the development of this, or is this like a long shot off thing, or is it like you said you've built software as a service already? How far are you from developing this?
Well, we already have MVP in the advertising part of what it is that we're doing, and we're very close on the Metaverse platform itself. So we've gone through design, wrapped up prototyping, and are now headed into engineering, or close to heading into engineering the platform so that we can release it and give the individual consumer the ability to start browsing properties on our platform. And so this isn't something that's super far out. It's actually something that's going to be here sooner rather than later. And we're really excited about that. We've been taking our time. Obviously, the state of the market has given us a little bit of time to really make sure that we are doing this work the right way. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. So we've gone through, we finished our design work. The platform looks beautiful, and the user experience is just amazing. We've gone through our prototyping, so now we can actually show people what it's like, what it will be like, and
Awesome.
we're excited to head into engineering so that we can bring this product to life.
Good deal. The closest thing that I could think of with this off the top of my head in Web3 right now is OpenSea. OpenSea, that if anyone
Yep.
knows, it's just like this. They sell NFTs, and on that they're also selling NFTs of metaverses, these land plots. Um, I'm
Mhm.
assuming you're able to connect your wallet, buy there, buy, sell immediately, or like walk me through the process here. Say I'm looking to invest in a piece of real estate in the metaverse. Um, Help me understand like the process of how that would start off and where the real estate agent would come in. I'm not too clear on like the process here.
Yeah, so it would be actually very similar to a lot of platforms, right? You log in with your unique wallet, and then that gives you the ability to kind of jump in and start browsing different properties. Very similar in concept to OpenSea, except um, for that, Witly.io is very niche down, focused only on metaverse property, metaverse real estate. And even the founder of OpenSea came out, I think it was 4 or 5 months ago, maybe even six, in a Twitter thread and talked about the future of what it is that data companies are doing is going to be success will be determined by their ability to aggregate specific pieces of data, i.e., virtual real estate, fashion, whatever NFTs somebody may be interested in. So even the founder of a platform like OpenSea can see a future where platforms like Witly.io, and he hasn't said this directly about us, but through some of his threads has stated that the ability for us to niche down and give people data only on the things that they are interested in is really going to have a huge impact on adoption. As people start to enter this space, we build technology that makes it easier for them to understand how to enter the space, introducing fiat rollout programs, because we're going to be able to give people the ability to buy virtual land with a credit card if that's what they wanted to do. We would, do all the back end work to make sure that that flows through to their
Mhm.
wallet, all that other stuff. And so the way that it would work is somebody, logs into the platform with their unique wallet, and then they would be able to go through and start facilitating purchases of these different metaverse properties. So we're connecting to the different metaverse platforms, the main platforms, and then the experimentals, and making sure that we are doing a ton of R&D on platforms that are kind of up and coming, so that we can present people that hold the Witly token with the best possible opportunities when it comes to buying or investing in virtual real estate. And it's really not much more complex than that, right? If they see something that they either buy or they win from a bidding standpoint, transactions happen similar. Then LooksRare would be another great example of this, because we'll actually have a token. LooksRare is a NFT platform, but they also have a token that is utilized to pay for transaction fees and stuff like that. But they would be able to buy the same way. Funds clear, go straight to the seller. ownership of the property transfers right to the user's wallet. And let's say that there's an agent involved. What we're working on is essentially a two-factor authentication process where let's say that I'm an agent and you're like, hey, I want to buy some property in Decentraland in the fashion district. So I go out, I identify a property, I use your wallet as the paying address, and you, as the owner of the wallet, get some two-factor authentication. So you're there to authenticate the purchase that your virtual agent is making on your behalf. Whenever the transaction goes through, you, as the buyer, get the property. The agent gets their commission. Us as a platform take the transaction fee, and then ultimately the seller gets the funds at that technically at that closing of that piece of virtual land. And so that's, I know it's a lot on the consumer side and then on the agent side, but that's how the platform will work.
Gotcha. There is a slight technical question mark that I have there. I use a lot of these tools when I'm purchasing my NFTs. Like for Cardano, I use cnft.tools. And it seems like it's one of these aggregators that's bringing in like all this information, and I could see the rarity of things. I could see the price of things. I could see each trait, like each NFT has like different traits, like say it has 10, 11 traits. And I could see the percentage rarity of it. I could see the price history, sell, buy, all that kind of stuff. One thing it doesn't allow me to do, and I think this is a technical issue, but it doesn't allow me to purchase right on that platform. If I want to purchase it, it gives me a link back to the marketplace that has that, thing, that NFT on. So I don't, how do you, and that's on Cardano. Say you have like Witly.io, it's supposed to do that with, like if you have blockchains, there's metaverses on Cardano and Ethereum and Avalanche and all that stuff. How do you balance the chains and the different marketplaces? Because I don't know if you can purchase unless they list it on your marketplace. So you're not going to make any kickback for the platform on Witly.io if it's listed on another marketplace. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a little bit of I don't understand that part completely.
It's okay. So a lot of metaverses actually operate on open APIs. And so you're able to aggregate the data that you need to aggregate in order to facilitate those types of transactions. It's really no different. As an example, let's say you've got Decentraland. Well, Decentraland's got all these plots of virtual land, but you can go to OpenSea and you can make the purchase, right? That's an example of how the property is actually listed on a site via their API, but you can make the purchases right there on OpenSea, and then all the back-end work, all the back-end, kind of ownership mechanisms kick in, and ownership is transferred, funds are transferred, all that stuff kind of happens simultaneously. So we will have a marketplace where people can make purchases right there live on our platform and not have to go to other platforms in order to do those things. And it's actually our preference. We want to build up an enormous amount of buy demand for virtual real estate, which is why we're building such a big list now of people that have an interest in this space, but then also building up an enormous amount of demand for people that want to become Metaverse licensed agents. So they have a platform that they can facilitate all of these transactions on, which would give them the ability to earn commissions right from our platform. And so to your point, it will be a marketplace. And because of the way that most of these metaverses are developing, we have the ability to tap into those and facilitate the transaction right on our platform.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious. Maybe that's just Cardano because Cardano is weird like that, but got it. Because yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, talk to me about this. You mentioned a Witly token. Is that the governance? Is that the value here in the platform? Do you have to use that token to buy? Talk to me how that integrates to everything.
Yeah, so that's a great question. The Witly token is a utility token. And so if you look at the utilities we're offering or the specific use cases, there's a lot of benefits that we want to give somebody that holds the Witly token. Their transaction fees would be paid if they buy a piece of property on Network or OpenSea, or not OpenSea, Decentraland, Sandbox, any of these platforms. Their transaction fee would be paid in our Witly token. So if somebody has ownership in the token, they unlock certain tiers of access to the information it is that we're providing. Access to the platform itself. As an extension of that, data, signals, triggers, alerts. As an extension of that, we've got early access to newly released Metaverse properties, discounted access to Metaverse properties. There's an enormous amount of benefits that we've been building upon so that if somebody holds the Witly token, they unlock access to our resources, not only in the virtual world, but in the real world too. We are already a very successful Web2 business, and we've ventured into this space because we believe that there's a real problem that we can solve, and we're doing the same type of work so successfully in the real world. And so it feels like this natural progression. The people that hold the Witly token as well will unlock not just the benefits of what I've described in the virtual world, they'll unlock similar benefits in the real world as we build towards becoming a listing site for real property that sells as NFTs or that is selling in cryptocurrency. We will be able to list those properties as well, so that the people. It's kind of like we're building a bridge between both worlds, where one complements the other. It's not that one is independent of the other. I think it's one of the greatest ways we're going to be able to build something that bridges the gap between these two worlds. And so our token is a utility token. They unlock quite a few resources and benefits, and I'll share those with you if you want to plug them into your show notes too. I can send you a blurb of all of the different use cases for the Witly token, but we will be a platform that has our own token
that sounds amazing. The I really like the buy and sell alerts. I like keeping it in the know, like giving these tools to people who might want to or are looking for land, and that fits right in line, right in pocket with what you've been doing for the last decade. Basically, is equipping real estate agents for the best way to sell and buy houses, which takes me to this metaverse real estate license. To me, when I first heard, I mean, like when you just said that to me, I'm like, why do I need a real estate agent in the metaverse? You know what I mean? Like, is there a need for that? Is this even? I've never even thought about having a real estate agent for me in the metaverse. I own multiple plots of land around here, and I just did my research and it was interested in it. Talk to me about why there needs to be a real estate license or real estate agent in the metaverse, and what is it you can give in this license that they can't just call themselves a real estate agent? You know what I mean? Like, I could just call myself a real estate agent and talk to somebody. Like, talk to me about what's valuable about this thing, and just the whole everything around it. I'm not too clear on that.
What's so interesting about the real world and the virtual world is how similar they are. While they may feel different, I mean, the reality is that, for example, the way that we value property in the real world and the way that we will value property in the virtual world is almost exactly the same, just some minor adjustments in what numbers we're calculating. I don't have to use a real estate agent in the real world. Neither do you. You can actually buy a house on your own without a realtor. You can sell your house on your own without a realtor. We do it because we want to work with trusted professionals that understand the process more than we do, that can help us reduce the risk that we may take in order to pursue these things. It can help us in negotiations. It can help us in a lot of different ways. And that's the same type of, really the same type of professionalism we want to bring into the metaverse space. I said this since day one, since I've been in this space. I think that this world lacks legitimacy in a lot of different ways, because so many projects are built on hype, not real utility, not real use case, not things that actually benefit you. And that's not what I want to be. I want to be. I've spent so much time building a reputation, become one of the foremost experts in my space over a long time, and I don't intend to put that at risk. Like, I want to bring legitimacy to a space I feel that really is craving transparency and authenticity and honesty. And I think that we can do that. And we can do that by building a profession. One way that we will be able to increase the adoption into the metaverse is by helping people understand how to earn a living from the metaverse or inside of the metaverse. And that's really what we want to do, because the reality is, like, not everybody's like you, right? 6% of the world was adopted to crypto before the bear market. A fraction of that was adopted to the metaverse before the bear market, right? And so there are people like you that understand how to do this research. They understand how to facilitate these transactions, understand this. But there are so many people unlike you that have no clue. They just want to get in. I want in, but I don't know how to get in. The barrier of entry is so difficult and it's so complex. And so I believe especially, that there is an income earning opportunity here for people that have an interest in helping facilitate transactions inside of a metaverse specific to virtual real estate. There's income earning opportunity with advertising and with rentals and with flipping properties and hosting experiences. And so if we can, when we do, push our licensing program out, the aim is to bring legitimacy to a space I think that desperately needs it. Because when people come in here and start making money, they're not going to want anybody else to mess that up, right? If you figure out how to sit on your couch and show people virtual land and make $1,000 a day, I'm here to tell you, like, you're probably not going to want somebody to come in and screw that up. And so I think that if we can regulate ourselves, we prevent the need for other outside entities to start, pushing their hands in the cookie jar, because it kind of goes the parallel opposite of what it is that this community is all about, which is decentralization. And so it's just creating ways where we can have better due diligence. We can have people being held accountable. We can have those different types of things taking place without having to go through all of the painful lessons that people are going through right now. Because we're, on one hand, people screaming decentralization, don't tell me what to do, don't touch my stuff, leave me alone. The crypto market completely crashes. Now everybody's saying, why isn't everybody watching out for this space? Somebody needs to hold somebody accountable. We've got people screaming on both sides. And so I just think that if we did a better job ourselves at how we do due diligence, at how we allow people to take certain actions and don't, and have mechanisms in place so that people can, we'll be issuing real estate licenses, NFTs. We'll have, a ledger for these types of things. If we can, not only show people how to earn income, but then, really let them know, just like in the real world, like we can take away your ability to earn income if you are doing stuff that you are not supposed to be doing. I think there's a lot of good that we can do as we build towards, growing in this space, and building a community in Web3, and really just holding each other accountable. I think it's so important.
Actually, I agree with you 100%. The space needs a lot of legitimacy, a lot of I would say vetting of people and projects and individuals. And the cool thing about it is, you could be I can't be a real estate agent in New York right now because I live in Florida, but anyone could have that opportunity to make money anywhere and build like a real estate licensing agency anywhere, and be that guy or girl who's connecting people and projects together, which I think is extremely amazing. And if you could teach that, if you could be the platform to teach that, develop that, and then after that help with the advertising, like you're already in the pocket for, you know what I mean? Like it seems like one of these things.
Already integrated.
You already got it going on here, and it's one of these big projects here that I could see layer and layer and layer, because all of real estate, it's wide open right now. And I think one thing that is needed is like a Zillow of it, but then you just start connecting dots with the next step over and over again. You just find yourself in an endless need of problems that you can solve and help serve for other people, which I think is brilliant. Actually, I love it. So help me to understand, like what do you think where are you going to start? Are you starting with Decentraland or Sandbox? Is there any specification where, like, specifically, do you own any Metaverse Land? Is this something that you like? Which way are you leaning towards? I guess is what I'm thinking about. What can we expect from Witly first? So I know that engineering's not even done yet. So just give me your thoughts on the future of this thing.
Well, we want to go to the leading 4 or 5 metaverse platforms from an integration standpoint to start. So you go where the attention's at, without question. And as we've been building throughout this process, we've been developing a lot of metaverse partnerships with platforms like Superworld, which is one of the top up and coming metaverses in existence. They took the entire world and graphed it to a metaverse. And so, like, my home, I could go buy its digital twin. That's an example of platforms that are doing some unbelievable work. Harish is a great founder. Partnering with platforms like that, see that, if we're all working together, we can really build something special in this space. So we'll go after the big ones first, from a development standpoint. But we have continued to develop metaverse partnerships. I can't remember how many we're up to right now, but metaverses that exist, metaverses that are more experimental, metaverses that are just ideas. And what we want to do is again, really kind of intensify the due diligence, make sure that these platforms are doing what they say that they will do, and just creating a better system of transparency and accountability, so that we could stop it with the frauds and the scams and all the rug pull stuff that continues to take place. So from a development standpoint, we're going to go after integrating with the larger metaverses first, and then we'll continue to add all types of innovations to how that aggregation is taking place, how we're communicating data, how we're filtering information, and then along the way we'll continue to add in the metaverses that prove that they can really come in here and do some great work. And we want to build some valuation tools as well, so that somebody, maybe it's an existing metaverse, we can build some mechanisms that help those existing metaverses or people that are interested in buying into existing metaverse properties. They can see how the property is being valued, so they know if they're making a good decision or if they're not. And that, I think, gives the experimental metaverses or the up and coming metaverses as well a great starting pad. Because I see so many of these virtual land platforms starting by selling their properties for tens of thousands of dollars. It's like, what on earth did you come up with this number? Because nobody's even logging into your platform yet. Like, what are you talking about? And so, yes, we do own virtual property. I would say that for me, I would admit that it's probably a conflict for me. It feels like I don't want people to think that I've built a platform and I'm keeping all the best opportunities for myself or any of those types of things. But we'll certainly, and we have by Metaverse Property or partner into Metaverse Properties, so that we can continue to grow. We want to build Metaverse showrooms in these different platforms where people could literally strap on their headsets, log in, and go tour virtual real estate. And we want to bridge that back to the real world too, where people could walk into a metaverse and be touring property in the real world. When it comes to buying and selling real property, I think there's a lot of really cool things we're going to be able to do. But
more than answers,
I hope that answers your question.
That actually, I want to jump off of that. This was one of the more exciting things for me that you mentioned is the real world bridge. I am someone who believes that future real estate properties will be sold with NFTs. It just takes out clearinghouses, title companies, it jumps a whole bunch of hoops over here. Can you talk to me a little bit about what are you planning there? Are you planning, are you part of this initiative to try to sell a house with an NFT in the real world? Like how does that integrate with all of that, everything you're doing?
Well, it's actually already been done. I mean, there's some great companies out there that figured out legally how to convert property to NFTs. And we actually helped from an advertising perspective. The first property that was sold as an NFT was sold in Tampa, Florida. We actually helped advertise the property. We generated almost 1,000 leads for the property, and they ended up selling it. It was pretty cool. We helped, with the properties they've sold as NFTs since. And it's such a fascinating thing to experience. But this stuff is actively happening. There's a lot of regulation around real estate, and so there's a lot of legal frameworks that have to be developed and redeveloped for stuff like this. There's a lot of very interesting questions that are being asked right now, specific to the Securities and Exchange Commission. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But blockchain specifically radically transforms the way that homes can be sold, the way that title searches can be done, the way that documentation is reported on, the ledgers that have been and are being created to help facilitate these transactions. I know some very smart people building some incredible projects because that work is already happening. It's already here. It's already being done. And we want to be a listing site where people can see real world property that is selling as NFTs, or see real world property that maybe not be selling as an NFT, but is being sold in crypto. We certainly want to be a listing platform for those real world opportunities as well, because crypto makes it universal, right? We could be a global listing provider for properties that sell that way. I agree. It's headed that direction. There's a lot of questions to answer before we get there.
The SEC won't let me be.
There's a couple companies that have figured it out, but
I'm excited to see the space develop.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting dialogue, because the reality is we already know that a commercial piece of property or something that's fractional ownership is being sold to is a security, and it's very black and white. And so if somebody wants to buy, and they are selling these right now in the real world, they're selling real properties. Fractional ownership into real properties as NFTs. It's happening. But the question right now that's being asked around the single family home is it a security or is it a utility? And the clear answer right now is it is a utility. It is something that you use. It's something that you live in. If the single family home was a security today, realtors wouldn't even exist. Financial advisors would be the ones that would be helping facilitate these purchases. Financial advisors, lawyers, title people. Realtors wouldn't even be a part of the equation, or realtors would also have to have somewhat of a financial background, a financial license to be able to facilitate these purchases. And so if you look at the landscape today, single family homes that are purchased just by an individual is not categorized as a security, even though some NFTs are. And so there's a lot of conversation that has to continue to take place. But I think that and this seems to be changing so frequently, but the status today is that a single family home is a utility, therefore making it so that the Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't really have to have will have that much oversight.
That's super
so
exciting.
I don't
I'm
know.
excited
It's
to see where those conversations lead. I personally own a fraction of a place in Dubai, so I mean I'm all in it. I'm all for it. So I got two more questions here to wind this conversation down. What's the next most exciting thing to be excited about here for your development of Witly.io?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So we've been building for the last several months and months in three ways: through funding, as we've introduced the token, so we've taken allocation for that, or issued allocation for that, which has been exciting. Connecting with some tier one funds, connecting with tier one exchanges, tier one launch pads. We've had a lot of amazing conversations with amazing people. We've got so many incredible people that are aligned with the work that we're doing and are excited to see where we're going and are helping us. The second thing is obviously the development. I love innovation. I'm very creative, and I love to solve high level problems, which is why we're even having this conversation in the first place. And so I'm really excited at what our design team pushed out and the prototyping that's been put together. I'm excited to see the transactions start to take place. We've got a lot of work that we're going to continue to do to get there, but the development and innovation really is what I was made for. But I think the third thing, and this could be one of the most important things, is just the community. I mean, community building is something I've been doing for a decade, building communities that, help each other succeed and collaborate and mastermind and have successes. And we've done that a lot in the real world. I'm excited to continue to develop what we're developing from a community standpoint with Witly.io. It's a different world, and excited to get in there and continue to connecting with the people the way that we are now. And I'm not a fan of hype. I think I've said that like a couple times, but I'm an enormous fan of community, of surrounding myself with people that we all know, like, and trust, people that are aligned to doing good, people that are aligned to growth and contribution, and really just helping lift each other up. And so I probably, the thing that I'm most excited about is you don't need a bull market to build a cool community of people that just want to go out there and do good in the world. And so we're focused on that. We're focused a lot on our content, a lot on our community, and continuing to grow that. And just the work that's happening all the way around with our licensing program is so exciting, because we've already got a nice list of people that are ready to become
awesome.
Metaverse licensed real estate agents. And so it's all exciting, man. And I don't know if any of that excites me more than our existing business. I mean, we do so well with our ad tech in the real world, but all the way around, man.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of really fun.
I could definitely see the excitement and fire in your eyes. You said that the first thing you like to do is for connecting with people, investors, tier one launch pads, all that kind of stuff. VCs probably. The next one was innovation of your actual, the platform, the design of that your team is developing. And the third is the community that you're developing. And if anyone wants to join that community, how do we do that? What's the call to action here? Your Twitter is the best place. Do you have a Discord? I'm guessing your token's not out yet because you haven't gone to the launch pads yet.
Yeah, haven't listed yet. We want to see some more stability in the market before we go down that path. But probably the number one way is follow me at LikeGrantWise on Instagram. We have our Witly.io Instagram as well. It's just Witly.io. And then join our Telegram community. I answer all my DMs. I connect with everybody that reaches out to me on Instagram, but we're having a lot of fun in our Telegram community. I'll make sure I drop
guys, if you are interested in the Zillow for Metaverse plays, definitely check out the website, check out the Telegram and the Instagram for Grant and his project Witly.io. Thanks so much, Grant, for joining us. And if you were watching to the end of the video, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.